What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody out there can hear me. I am Greg. I'm the host of the Meadows and Makers podcast, brought to you here on MSP Waves. And hope everybody has had a good past week and is doing well out there. I got a few things for you guys tonight. I am hopefully broadcasting on all of the platforms, the typical platforms that I have been using with the Odyssey and YouTube channels. So let's see what's going on here. What the heck is going on? That's not working. But it looks like the YouTube one is working, so we're gonna keep on rolling with this thing here. And thank you guys for being here. Gabriel, I see. Natalia are in the chat rooms. Are in the chat on Discord. Hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Can y'all hear me? And everything is going smoothly there. But this week, I usually start off the show by kind of sharing with you guys what has been going on. And can't hear me. Well, crap. Let me just do this. Can you guys hear me now? Let's see, server mute off. All right. Can you guys hear me now? We'll have to roll. We'll have to roll with this. I'm going to be just chatting about what I've been up to lately. And I am also streaming out there to YouTube as well. I don't know if it's coming through on the MSP Waves end, but we're going to roll with that. And we're going to keep the show going. So I just wanted to share the stuff that I was working on this past weekend, and that includes I was talking about a little while back how I was looking at buying the Snapmaker 3D printer. Well, I put that purchase through. I bought the 3D printer. And I started the assembly last night and got finished with it. So I'm going to post a couple of pictures in there. And let me remind everybody what this looks like here. And post a picture of that there in the Discord. But it's I got the Snapmaker 2.0. It's a 3-in-1 printer, and it can do laser engraving, 3D printing, and it also has a module so that you can do CNC carving in there. And yeah, if Gabriel, if you want to hang out and say anything, man, and feel free to unmute yourself or whatever. We can just chat if you'd like, and whoever else comes in tonight can have an open forum on some stuff. But if not, I'll just talk to you about what I have going on. And let me see if I can pull this up here. It's been kind of a crazy week. It's one of those where, like, they, at the end of the day today, they came in and told me that they needed to get like some work done for tomorrow. So it needs to be done by the end of the day tomorrow, and kind of put me under some pressure to get some stuff finished. And so I've kind of been scrambling, getting back home. But anyway, no excuses. Just that's what's going on. So I've a little lack of preparation tonight. I recorded the whole build process, or the assembly process of this thing. They made it really easy um, for the 3D printer to get fully assembled, and provided a really nice quick start guide that had all the assembly instructions in it. And it's a really high quality printer. I really like the way they designed this thing. The base plate is a really solid. It's all metal. The printing platform is all metal, and the base plate is a really solid metal. Um, the actuators for the Z-axis, the Y-axis, and the X-axis, they all came with these. They call them linear modules, and makes it really robust. It seems like it's really robust. These modules, I guess the motors are internal to those modules, and so everything's compact, and you can use those linear actuator modules as part of the frame and how they designed it. So I think that's pretty innovative. And the idea of just having like a modular printing or a modular machine that you can use for different purposes, I thought was really cool. One of the guys in our Freedom Cell group told me about this machine, and I've just been kind of obsessively thinking about it, and decided that I wanted to get one. And so I went ahead with the purchase and got it, and it came like the middle, kind of maybe the middle of the week, or maybe like on Friday or Saturday. It came over the weekend, I think, is when I got it. And I wasn't able to get to building it over the weekend, but I got to it last night. I was able to sit down after I got back from work and worked on it. Right now, we've got a 16-foot trailer that got kind of messed up. My dad took the trailer to go do some stuff, helping out a friend, and it got all screwed up from doing that. So I was working on rewiring the trailer. Not I didn't have to do all the wiring. My dad was able to fix the pigtail, and then I did. I soldered the taillights in, and then put a new taillight, one new taillight in the back, and a taillight guard, and then soldered all the wires together to get all that wiring so that there could be trailer lights on the thing. And then so we got that going on, and so yeah, I was working on that over the weekend. And the another thing that came in, which is pretty sweet. I didn't think this was gonna make it until later in October, but I just got this battery management system for the solar trailer that I'm going to be buying a bank of lithium iron phosphate batteries from a buddy of mine, and I just got this battery management system in from Dolly. It's DALY electric battery management system, straight from the boat from China. So that's the thing about these lithium iron or lithium ion batteries, or the lithium iron phosphates. A lot of it is only coming from China, the batteries. A lot of the more affordable batteries, and these lithium iron phosphate batteries are pretty expensive. So I have a deal. Once I got the BMS in, that a friend of mine that is into solar, he's been ordering batteries, and he already had some on hand, so he's gonna sell me some of the ones that he had on hand, and then he's gonna make a new order for more batteries for himself, because he's also doing off-grid stuff. So let me see if I can pull this up here and show you guys what I'm talking about. So it's something like this BMS here for lithium iron phosphates. Let's see, product catalog, low current, high current, BMS. Well, their website is oh, well, this is probably what it is. This is probably their website. It's probably all in Chinese. Yeah, it's all in Chinese. So, let me see if I can just pull up some images of this thing. This is one of these guys here. It's like it's the 250 amp battery management system. And what these do when you have like the lithium iron phosphate batteries is they like make sure that the batteries don't get overcharged. So there's a sensor wire that goes to each one of the cells of the battery, and then it makes sure to cut off the current to the cells so that you keep it from overcharging. I did an experiment with that on some lithium iron phosphates, and was just thinking that maybe I could, if they were all connected in series, I could just charge them with a standard charger, and that is not the case. You need something that will cut off the current once the cells have reached their full charge, and that's not the same as lead acid battery chemistry. So that's one downfall of the lithium iron phosphate batteries, is you do need some kind of electronics to be able to help with the charging system, or the charging method, and make sure that it cuts off the current. So whereas you can just go and find yourself some lead acid batteries, find yourself a charge controller, you can get that connected, and you can do that right away. So that is one downfall of the lithium iron phosphates. They're not going to be as available in your local area, and they are more expensive. However, you can use more of the battery, and you can they last longer as far as their life goes, the life cycle. When I first started the podcast, I think it was 2018 or 2019, and that's also the same time that I did build the solar trailer. and I think it was probably closer to the maybe the middle of 2019 when I finally had the batteries hooked up and everything going in the trailer. And so I didn't keep up on the regular maintenance on the wet cell golf cart batteries that I put in there. And so that led to probably an early failure on those batteries, but they didn't quite last 3 years for me. So lead acid batteries, they don't have a whole heck of a long life, especially the wet cell batteries if you're not going to, because I didn't take the time to properly maintain them. And they were exposed to a lot of temperature cycles and things too. So I wasn't able to hold on to those lead acid batteries, but they are the most plentiful thing that you can find in the local area that you're at. Either the wet cell golf cart batteries for doing solar power system, or absorbed glass mat batteries are called AGM. They're a type of sealed lead acid battery. And then just your standard sealed lead acid batteries that you can pick up all over the place. Deep cycle marine batteries would be another option. Even car, just standard car batteries is another option for solar. Depends on what you got in your area and what you're dealing with. What's the easiest to find, and if you treat the batteries well, in the case of lead acid batteries, from lessons learned, you can't let them get too depleted. Otherwise, you start to degrade the life of the battery. Like if you take in discharge the battery past like 50%, like half of the energy storage of the battery, that you're going to start to degrade the battery, and it just won't be able to provide as much storage over time after you've gone past that point um, of discharging your batteries for lead acid batteries. So with the advantage of the lithium iron phosphates, you get a longer, or you get to take advantage of like most of the storage that you have in the battery. So you could go theoretically, I've been reading and researching that you can go down to like you can use up to 95% of the storage in the battery without hurting them, and then be able to recharge from there. So you actually have a lot more storage capability than you would in lead acid batteries. Whereas you would have to get uh, probably 4 times the amount of batteries in lead acids to compare to the amount of storage that you could get out of the same bank of lithium iron phosphate batteries, let's say. So I think over time you're better off going with the lithium iron phosphates because you don't have the maintenance requirements of the batteries, which you don't have with the sealed lead acids, but you definitely do with the wet cell batteries, and those are the cheapest and most plentiful. But anyway, you don't have to worry about maintenance. You're going to get a lot more cycles. Its lifetime is going to be much longer with the lithium iron phosphates. Another advantage is that they don't have issues where you're gonna cause an explosion or anything with the lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry compared to lithium ion batteries. One disadvantage is that you do have to have some kind of battery management system to be able to charge the batteries correctly. Um, so that's kind of a little bit of a rundown on how that stuff works. But yeah, we did get into some of the stuff that about 3D printing last episode, and talked a little bit about how you can find parts on Thingiverse, and all the different components and things that you can find on here for all kinds of cool stuff. I talked a little bit about what you can do with the open source CAD softwares that are out there as well, and how you can find those. There's a bunch of different resources. I think FreeCAD is a really good program. I have used it, and it's pretty intuitive. One of the cool things that you can do with these softwares is if you find an image or something like that on the internet, you can take that image, you can pull it into the CAD software, and just kind of using the tools of creating drawings in the software, you can use the image and put it in your CAD program, and you can pretty much create a tracing of the image in there, and then either make it into something solid or cut it into something. And once you do that, you can have the information you would need to send to something like a 3D printer or a laser engraver, and you would be able to turn that into something physical. So that's the idea of what I want to use this thing for. Is I'd like to do some custom laser engraving, and then I want to experiment a little bit with taking drawings, like handmade drawings, and then converting them into the CAD program. And once it's in CAD, then basically just using the tools for drawing in CAD, copy the hand-drawn image, and then use that to engrave on different things. I talked a little bit about it a while back, where I was talking about taking discarded materials and doing like custom art on it, like using laser engraving. So still got that idea kicking around in my head, and now that I got this thing set up, I think I'm gonna become pretty obsessed with it. It's probably gonna be taking up a lot of my extra time, just sitting there working on different parts and some art, and kind of making that one of my creative hobbies, I think. Is playing around with this machine, because it can do some cool stuff. Like I said, it has 3 different capabilities. It can do the laser engraving, CNC mill. So you can take a piece of wood and do like custom reliefs in the wood with the thing, with the CNC mill, which I think would be really neat for things like knife handles, stuff like that. A buddy of mine actually made some pretty decent money with a little Etsy shop, and he's got a little CNC tabletop CNC that he can use to um, make these tequila boards is what they are, and that was pretty popular, and he was able to make some good side money doing that with his little Etsy shop, and I thought that was really neat. So I wonder if I can, like, while we're doing all this, if I can get this thing to run a live stream, or if I am even running the live stream as we speak on Odyssey. Nah, I'm not gonna try to do that while we're going here. But okay, my bad there. But lost my train of thought there. I was listening to a Chrissy Mayer podcast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she had a good guest on recently. She had Naomi Brockwell on her podcast. And I thought it was a really good interview where she was talking to her about privacy online, and they got into some cool tips for just some small things that people can start to do. Taking actions in their own lives. And just one of the things that she was saying was that to copy over all your emails into a service. Once you've got them all copied there, to delete everything on your Gmail account and to forward all your emails to something like a Proton Mail account. I have used a few different of the more anonymous email services like Tutanota, the Proton Mail, and I've also used C Templar. I think the issue with the more private email services, especially the ones that are not Proton Mail, because Proton Mail, I think, is one of those problem reaction solutions kind of a solution that was set up, by the powers that should not be. And they're doing a lot of different stuff with Proton Mail, where it's gonna be kind of like Gmail, where they're providing a bunch of different things in addition to the email service, and it's one of those things where you just kind of gotta follow the money. Like they've had a lot of they've had a lot of money coming in to them from certain sources. The thing about Tutanota though was that you can't let your account go idle on Tutanota. So if you're not using the email, it'll just die. So Tutanota is good. If you're gonna, like I said, you need to be using it, and you need to use it all the time. And then, yeah, one free email address per IP with Tutanota. Yeah, yeah. So you can't just create like a bunch of different email addresses for a free one. But yeah, with the encrypted emails, it seems like um, it's hard to keep that running because I had a C Templar email, free C Templar email, and then I just looked, and C Templar, I guess, went out of business, and so they can no longer provide the email service that they were providing, and so that's kind of a bummer. And so there's not a whole lot of options. You got Proton Mail. I guess you got Tutanota. You got C Templar. Um, but yeah, I think you do have to to have a good private email is probably you probably do have to you're gonna have to pay for one, and I guess uh, Tutanota might be the way to go with that because uh, otherwise there's not a whole lot of options out there. But let me share this one thing. I just finished reading a book. Let's see, the untold autobiography of Freeway Rick Ross. Uh, and let me just share a little bit of a synopsis of that. At least the end of the autobiography, he talked about how the guy that was supplying him cocaine from Nicaragua was a CIA connected to the CIA. And if you've seen that movie American Made, it's all part of that whole thing that went down during the Reagan administration of where they were exchanging drugs for arms to uh, the Contras down there, and so that was interesting. He was talking about in the book how they were doing. He was moving 100 kilograms of cocaine a day. Is how big he got that thing into, and he was dealing with millions of dollars at one point in time. Uh, so I had started that book a little while back, and then I finally got to finish it over the weekend. Rick Ross and Kathy Scott. It is on as an EPUB. You can find it in an EPUB version on Library Genesis if you'd like. But he talks about Gary Webb and how Gary Webb, died of suicide, alleged suicide with I think two shotgun wounds. And because he was investigating the involvement of the CIA in this drugs for arms thing that was going on down in South America, and he must have been pretty over the target because they suicided. He got suicided. So I thought that was an interesting book. I got to meet Rick Ross when I was down in Acapulco in 2020, and we were talking. He was talking to me about a little bit about his story, and I was like, "Wow, man! It's like that's one hell of a story. You should write a book." And he was like, "I already have. I've got a book coming out." And I wish I was able to have bought a copy from him there at the conference, but I picked one up off of his website, and he autographed it for me. And so he's an interesting guy. He's still an entrepreneur to this day. He was able to get out of prison because he figured out that they were trying him for the same charge that he had already been not like wasn't convicted of, and so it was a double jeopardy trial, and so he got his sentence changed because of that, and he was supposed to be spending basically a life in prison, and he got the sentence reduced and got out of prison early. So he's still an entrepreneur there. I think, and he's from I think what he was telling me. I think he's still in the same area of Los Angeles that he started off in. Let's see if I can find. Let's see, L.A. Kings. Is that what his website was? No. Let's see, Rick Ross. L.A. Kingpins maybe. Kingpins. Rick Ross. I think he has. I think he has a website. But can't remember his website right now. Maybe this is it right here. LA Kingpins. Yeah, that's his website right here. So, let's see. Yeah, it looks like I think he got into the marijuana business. But yeah, here's his here's his website, and then that's got the book on his website right there. And he also gives some business advice in there at the end because he never used any violence in the way he ran his operation with his drug operation. He created incentives for people, basically, which is really interesting. He would kind of do like these competitions and stuff, and the way to like incentivize people to sell more coke essentially, uh, but yeah, he never used any violence or coercion on anybody. It was all the loyalty to him, and he did a lot of things to give back to his local community, and talked about how you know how it made him feel good about being able to do stuff for his local community, which I thought was pretty cool. I ordered a whole slew of books that I am going to be diving into, and including one is called The Independent Farmstead. And this was a recommended book from Billy Bond from permapastures.com. And so the title is The Independent Farmstead, Growing Soil, Biodiversity, in Nutrient-Dense Food with Grass-Fed Animals and Intensive Pasture Management. With in-depth information on electric fencing, watering, and husbandry for ruminants, poultry, and pigs, plus butchering, dairying, and more. Um, this is something that, hey, has been a dream of mine for a long time. Is to be independent on a piece of land and be disconnected from the matrix system that we live in. And I really think, like, at least for me, that's a solution. And I have been listening to this guy Paul Unslaved recently, and some of the stuff that he's been talking about is like, yeah, when you do get involved with groups that you, a lot of the times the groups can get taken over, and then what is it, the group speaking for you, or you have to be spoken for by the group, and things like that, where I do think it's good to work with others. And like I've talked about on the podcast, like, I do think community is important, to be connected with like-minded people and have some kind of community. Uh, you know, when you do get involved with groups, things tend to uh, tend can turn into kind of get subverted. And I've kind of seen it in a lot of different um, like conferences and things that people try, and then you know just different gatherings. And it tends, like, once the group size becomes so large, things tend to break down. And so I don't know if there's a way to get around that. I really think that like Paul is saying, it's really about the individual and standing up for what is the right thing to do in this world, which is to claim your sovereignty, and not to bow down and to people that believe that they have some higher claim of authority over you as a human being. And to assert yourself in the world, and be in the world but not of the world. So I don't think that any real change could happen, really, unless it is a change on an individual consciousness level. To be really honest, I think he does have a good point in what he talks about on his channel, that we can talk and talk and talk, and about different ideas, and different solutions. But the best solution is to take action and really live the life of freedom to to your fullest extent, by asserting yourself when it comes to legal matters, like the right to travel without being harassed, and to live on your own private property and not be told how you have to manage things on your own land. And just to just live in truth, in being is a very important thing. And as the individual person, as if people can do that, and actually provide some real pushback to the system, just by their own living your life, and living it to the highest degree of freedom that is possible for yourself. And that comes with a lot of responsibility. You once you want to live truly free, you are responsible for everything: your own security, your food, your shelter, um, like your entertainment. You're responsible for all those things, and you can't abdicate that to others. You really have to take on a lot to be truly free. And I don't know, living in the world that we live in, I don't know, it might be a an attempt to be as free as you can be, but I don't know if there is a really being truly free on this in this realm. Um, but I think once your mind is free, it's hard to it is hard to try to control someone whose mind is free. Which oh, just 1 second. Gotta pop my back. Man. Oh, where I work, I'm like, um, I have to work on this bench, and it's kind of like have to lean down to work on the bench, so my middle of my back always gets really tight. Um, but yeah, let's see. I was talking about Paul Paul Unslaved, and I think he had a really good um, talk with Brian from High Impact Flicks recently. A let's see, he just got a channel called Here's the Deal on YouTube. I think he had to change or he had to get another YouTube channel. But let's see. This was a really good talk that him and Paul had recently. I want to pull this up and maybe we'll share it in the Discord chat. But I really like a lot of what Paul was talking about there, and kind of his ethos. He recently did a stream. I've just been following him for a little bit. I've been following him for a while, and his what he does when confronted by the police, and some of his videos of his recordings on when he's being confronted by the cops. So now he's been bringing on some folks that come into his live streams, and it was pretty funny. The other day, he had a guy that came in there, or it may have been part of today's live stream that he did. He's been doing like 8-hour live streams and stuff. It's pretty wild. But he had one guy that came in there and was like, "All right, man, yeah, I really was resonating with some of the stuff that you're talking about. It's like, we got to get you guys down here to help spread the message." And what he kept saying was like, "Well, you just keep spreading, don't you? You just spread. You're a spreader." And he's kind of like poking at the guy, basically like, it's a in the in the truth community, and people that are um trying to just get people to see what's going on, um and kind of get like a bigger picture view of everything that's going on in the world. That a lot of the things is just talk about what's going on, and not very little action being taken to actually take the information that we've learned and to use it in a productive way, which I think is was one of the things that he was talking about was, taking the information and then, using it and applying it in your everyday life and living it, living what you know, and then, making sure that you exercise it. And just like a muscle, you have to exercise these things that that so that you don't lose it. And it's a pretty important thing to strive for, is continuing to exercise your rights, and fully expressing those. So did I post that in the chat? Yeah. So that was the conversation there with Paul Enslaved and Brian there from High Impact Flicks. I thought that was a pretty good one. What I talk about on the show here. I really would just like to, the big goal, I think, is to share, a lot of the lessons learned that I've had. And I don't know if I can, necessarily be somebody that, I do my best to live the as self-reliant as I can, but there's to be fully responsible for myself would be to really disconnect from the system entirely, and have my own means of having income, and doing everything that I can to stay outside of the system, and to totally be pure. And so I don't think that I'm somebody that entirely practices what they're preaching currently, and that does get to me. It's one of those things that going into work, and I've been thinking about recently, is just while I do have an appreciation for what I'm doing, I'm not truly living up to my principles. But I think I do have to, establish some kind of thing. It's been my goal, to be able to save and be able to build some kind of little cabin of my own, and that's still the plan. Is to do that and to get out on and be part of the community of some local friends, and try to get that to work in a capacity as this private membership association. So yeah, I'm still moving forward on all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it does get to you, like thinking about the state of the world and where things are going. But I did have a conversation with a good buddy of mine recently where we were talking about kind of along these lines, and when you're looking at everything that's going on, and it's kind of getting a little overwhelming, maybe the whole system's gonna collapse, and you never know when it could happen. I mean, I think it's happening kind of right in front of our eyes as we speak right now. And when you're in the middle of it, it's really hard to see it, I think. But but yeah, hearing the stories of how many people are on, drugs and kind of checking out of the system, and well, kind of checking out of their lives. A lot of people are, getting more into drugs to escape. Suicides and stuff are up, and then you have all these people that took the jabs, the the old jibbity jabberoos that are just kind of all of a sudden just keeling over for climate because of the sun. And looking at a lot of that stuff is kind of disheartening when you kind of see the direction that things are going. But I do think that there is, a lot of hope, especially when you can kind of put aside all of that stuff. And I do think it is good to disconnect from the screens for a little bit and focus on the things that are going to put you in a better place. I've been working on doing that myself lately. Just disconnecting from the constant barrage of all the information and taking some time to do some reading. Sit down and read a book that I've wanted to read for a while and finish. It was really nice to do that over the weekend. Get some personal things accomplished. Help my parents out with getting helping repair my dad's trailer. Doing stuff like that, assembling my 3D printer, and doing some work on that. Sitting down and ordering some things that I needed that would help me, complete some projects that I have. Just doing some of that stuff, and it makes me feel good too, like getting some of those things accomplished. Once I'm able to check them off my list, I've got a little list, and used to not think that making lists and stuff was helpful, but I'd make like 1,000 lists, and then because I do have a lot of I've had a lot of different ideas on different things, and make a lot of lists, and I think actually I have checked a lot of those things off over time, from some of the things that I printed out on paper, from lists that I made back in like 2018. I have accomplished a few things on those lists, and so I do think it can be helpful to actually write some stuff down so that at least it gives you a reminder. Otherwise, what I tend to do is just think about a million different things and then not get anything done. So I think it does help to at least organize and create some priorities by writing it down. You can kind of prioritize some of those thoughts. But for the longest time, I was very anti list, just kind of like do things as they came to me, and just work on things like that. But that probably is why I am kind of like a hoarder kind of person, because I don't know if it's a carryover from my previous generations going through the Great Depression or something like that, or the fact that I can kind of hack some stuff and just try to take what is or what would be discarded materials and try to make something out of them. Because I think I kind of like doing some of that stuff. And so you'll see something, and then I'll have the thought that like, how I could probably do something with that. But really, that's not a really healthy way to think about it. At least that I've caught in myself, where I have to do something with whatever I believe that I could use that for, and I really need to like do that thing in either like I need to it needs to have like a really like specific purpose. It needs to be helpful in organizing or something, and or I can't take on the project. It needs to have some kind of utility for me. Uh, Otherwise, I really should not pursue that. Just to um, if I'm not going to take that project on immediately, then it's probably not something that I need to hold on to. Is what I'm trying to say, and should try to become more minimalist in some of the things that I do. So what are you talking about, Gabriel's? It's not if it's not hopium, then it's fear porn. Either way, it's information warfare. Been getting fitter and going outside more. Spring has sprung here, and there's so much wildlife everywhere. That's awesome. Yeah, I've also been losing some weight, and it's made me have a lot more energy. I'm a lot more. At the end of the day, I am able to still like last night. Typically, I would come home, and I would be kind of spent. Your energy levels have gone through the roof. That's awesome. It makes a huge difference, man. Like, yeah, for me, I think I'm down about 40 pounds from where I was. I was about like 320 pounds smoking, and about 320 pounds. And now I'm at a solid 280 right now. And I noticed that yeah, at the end of the day, I still do have energy. Uh, yeah, yeah, and the exercise does make you feel really good too. It does. I kind of I do enjoy the sweat actually now. I'm kind of feeling like I kind of enjoy the sweat and getting a good sweat going. Smoking less cigarettes too. Yeah, yeah, man. I just like 3 weeks ago, I would smoke these cigars, black and milds. I love to smoke black and milds, and I finally let that habit go. Uh, I hope. No, I have. I have let go of the smoking of the black and milds. And I did do this thing. I ordered one of these little fume things that Michael Malice talked about and promotes. I used his code to help support him. But I did order one of these little things. It's just like a little wooden thing that you can put these little, I guess they're like essential oil kind of things into this little wooden thing, and it's almost like smoking a cigar, I guess, except it's like an essential oil kind of thing in there. And but the thing I'm thinking about now is like now they get you fucking addicted to uh, the damn little core things that they sell you. So I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, man. I'm just kind of gonna have it, and once I run out of those things, I'm just gonna, I guess, use this as a I don't know, maybe maybe just a decoration piece or something. I don't know, but it kind of holds the flavor or the whatever the essential oil thing in there and the smell of it. And so I kind of found myself like today as I was working, kind of holding it in my mouth like I was smoking a cigar and like had the cigar going, puffing, and just kind of breathing into the thing. So I guess it's helped me a little bit so far. I think this is week. This might be week 3 for me without smoking. So I'm doing okay with it. Uh, when you when I have quit in the past and it's not any different now, I'm like usually pretty on edge, but and when people ask me questions, I'm really agitated with them. And it doesn't matter who's asking the question, it just seems like everybody's aggravating. Even the people I don't mind too much just aggravate me. And I seem to be one of those people that, I'm not. Um, I guess I can be pretty friendly, but I do like to be to myself a lot. Uh, so some people can take that as I'm an unfriendly guy sometimes, but it depends on who you are. Depends on who you are, because I'll tell you what, man. I have my coworker is a dude that just gets on my freaking nerves, and I can like work with pretty much anybody. And I've just got one of those kind of laid back personalities, and but the guy I work with right now, my coworker, he drives me fucking bananas, man. But it's I think it's probably more about like an honor kind of thing. It's like because I've caught the guy in lies and shit, and just like previous conversations I've had with him and stuff when the whole vaccine thing was going on. Some of the things that he was telling me was just like disgusted me about how he could be, uh, you know, spineless, such a spineless person. And another thing that just like sticks in my mind is when we had this, there was some kind of inspector or something that came around and was inspecting our workplace, and he was telling me, it's like, just I know you don't want to put on the mask, but like just put it on, man. They could shut us down. And I was like, they're not gonna shut us down. Just relax, dude. And they didn't wear a mask, and they just didn't even give a fuck, dude. And it's just stuff like that, man. I just don't have any respect for people that would just roll over and just behave like a freaking whipped dog when somebody, tells you what you should do, and against their own freaking will, that they go against their own will. Not like they don't even want to do what they're talking about, and I just go along with it anyway, just not to stir the boat, not to cause a scene, because that would be bad. That would be bad if you did that. It definitely would not make your life easier. But I think it helps you grow. I was also listening to another podcast with Chrissy Mayer. She had on what was the girl's name? Gothics is who she was talking to. But they were talking about how Gothics was somebody that got canceled, and like her main source of revenue which was her content creation was cut off from her, and kind of went through a period of pretty deep depression, and she realized that you know it, you it taught her some lessons like on how to be um, not rely on one source of income, and to um, have uh, be basically be more resilient, and to instead of seeing things as like a woe is me type of attitude toward life, but to change that into what kind of lesson am I learning here with the experience that I'm going through. So I guess tying that back to what I was talking about is that you get a lot of growth through um, trying things, and attempting to do things that you might not be familiar with, and that you're kind of going out on a limb, and people may think that people may not have people might not support your ideas, and might not be totally on board with what you're talking about, or like the information you're trying to share with them. And that's it's okay. It's like we should be talking about these things, and we should be trying to get information out to other people. I believe at a certain point, the people that want to make a change in their life will, and I don't think some people will change their mind until there is some type of trauma in their life that will get them to start seeing things in a different way. Uh, that's another kind of key thing that happens in a lot of people is going through some kind of traumatic experience in your life can do things that can set you off on a different path in your life, and maybe set you in the direction of achieving some goals that you never thought you would achieve, because now you have experienced something so traumatic that it puts life into another perspective for you. You know, um, I relayed the how my life was affected after I lost my brother, and I don't know if I would necessarily be doing the things I'm doing now uh, if that didn't happen. It kind of put a lot of things into perspective for me, because why should I worry about uh, things, or even trying things and being bad at them, if you could just lose somebody that you care for so deeply. You can just lose them in an instant. So what do we have in life, um, in living life, to actually like truly live. Um, we don't know how long we have to live this life, and um, it's just one of those things that I think that the life that we have in being in our physical bodies is a gift. I do think it is a gift. It's something to be grateful for, and there's a lot that life has to offer us. I think I do think about this, that there's so much to explore. There's so many questions about things that I have, and how the nature of this whole thing works, and how can we do, or can humans eventually, do intergalactic type travel? Is there uh, was there a point in our history where things like that were achievable or were achieved, and are we part of the people that were too stubborn um, to go in that direction? Maybe those people were going through similar things that we're going through right now, and there was some kind of a split in the human population, and there was a certain amount of people that went this way and were go experimenting with different crafts, and doing anti-gravity stuff, different energy devices and things. And maybe there was a whole nother part of humanity that was like, no, well, we don't, we kind of think that's cool, but we'd rather just like hang out on this planet because it's pretty cool here and we like it, and we're just gonna stay here and just keep doing this human thing. Uh, maybe that happened. I think about that a little bit, like especially if you look into some of the stuff with Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock, that they talk about the flood that happened, and Graham Hancock talks about ancient civilizations, and the very good possibility that we inherited a lot of the things that were left behind from a previous human civilization after a big cataclysmic event. Um, so yeah, Randall Carlson is a really interesting guy going into a lot of this stuff on geology, and he's got a really cool podcast too. It looks like, um, and he's one of these guys that when he got onto the Joe Rogan podcast, it got me like super interested in this guy, and I guess he's got something called HowTube now, which is pretty cool. 2 full weekends, the Grand Vision, Graham Hancock, George Howard, Randall Carlson, and friends do a deep dive into the Younger Dryas, a blind spot in human history. 57 seconds. Randall Carlson's podcast, Declassifying Esoteric Mysteries. Randall Carlson, he is one of those guys that does, seem to have a lot of optimism himself, because he is like a curious person. I think just having curiosity is something that can keep you optimistic, because there is a lot of things that are out there to question and to learn. And one of the really cool books that blew my mind on some of that stuff was the book Morphic Resonance by Rupert Sheldrake. And he was in that book. He talks about some really wild concepts about how there's in our physical reality, there's like what he calls a morphic field that is expressed with biology. And he gave the example of a caterpillar and turning into the butterfly, and when the caterpillar goes in the cocoon, there's a field of the biological makeup of the of what the butterfly's physical, what the butterfly's physical nature will be. It's I think it's kind of hard for me to describe it, but he was talking about how even if you for instance, if you have a limb that's been cut off, like still the energetic field that was there of your missing limb it's still in op that field is still exists, and um, kind of along those lines is I think is where he was going with some of that. Um, interesting book. If if you ever get a chance to read it, let me see. I wonder if it's on Library Genesis here. Let me see. Morphic resonance. Yes, it is. As an EPUB document, the nature of formative causation. Ugh. Ugh. This is a really cool book. Let me see. Can I pull that up and share that link? Oh Lord. Searching the author. This is here's the link to the book. I think it's pretty cool. Talking about all kinds of various topics here. Another one that fascinates me is Dr. Paul LaViolette. Wrote a book called The Secrets of Anti-Gravity Propulsion. And this is a book that I don't have yet. It is a book that I want to pick up. Oh, it's the Kindle edition. But yeah, in the book and then the presentation that Dr. Paul LaViolette gives, and he talks about how like it could be possible for some of these technologies to exist, and some of the principles behind the technologies. In one of them, he was talking about how they were using something, some kind of array of some kind. It sounded almost like there was some kind of light. It was using light in some way to do propulsion, and like directing some kind of array. From what I remember in one of his lectures, but I think he talks about some of the things in the past that there's some documented evidence of. One of the guys that is pretty interesting to look into is I believe his name is T. Townsend Brown. T. Townsend Brown. T. Townsend Brown. Where he discovered some effects, electrical effects, and this is how they describe him. This guy Thomas Townsend Brown, he was playing around with electricity, and creating, some effects by playing around with different electrical field phenomenon. And so this is how they describe it. I haven't done this experiment myself, but the apparatus looks like it might not be that difficult to build, especially with the 3D printer that I have. But the apparatus would be like this little saucer type thing, and you put positive and negative charge onto it, and there's a one of the charges is like kind of separated somewhat from the body of the disc, and then it's kind of suspended. There's two of them suspended with wires that the conductors lead to around the center point. And once you turn on the electricity, then it causes motion, and supposedly that works in a vacuum without any air in it. But what they say here in Wikipedia, they say that Thomas Townsend Brown was an American inventor whose research into odd electrical effects led him to believe he had discovered a connection between strong electric fields and gravity, a type of anti-gravity effect. Instead of being an anti-gravity force, what Brown observed has generally been attributed to electrohydrodynamics, the movement of charged particles that transfers their momentum to surrounding neutral particles in air, also called ionic drift or ionic wind. For most of Brown's life, he attempted to develop devices based on his ideas, trying to promote them for use by industry and the military. Phenomenon came to be called the Byfield-Brown effect and electrogravitics. In recent years, Brown's research had an influence in the community of amateur experimenters who build ionic propulsion lifters powered by high voltage. There's still claims that Brown discovered anti-gravity, an idea popular in the unidentified flying object community and spawning many conspiracy theories. So yeah, that's how Wikipedia describes it. I haven't done the experiment myself, so I can't say whether or not it's pretty valid, but I would like to perform that experiment, but it is something that I think is very interesting and has most likely a good possibility of being something that could be for reals. So what is it? Where is the paperback version of this? $24, and I cannot find this on Library Genesis. So might have to get a couple copies of this and actually get it up on Library Genesis so that everybody can get a read of that thing. Because I do think it has some interesting stuff in there. I wonder if we search by author, if anything will pull up from Paul LaViolette. If I am Violette. Let's see. Subquantum kinetics, a system's approach to physics and cosmology. Well, I'm gonna download that. I would like to give that a read. If it'll let me. Faster download from an IPFS distributed storage. All right, come on now. Come on now. Maybe not. Okay. Never mind. All right. I just grabbed that EPUB. What? Huh. Oh, okay. I'm getting tripped out here by like my download speed. Doesn't look like I've got much going on as far as my download speed goes. I don't even know where I'm streaming to. I do know that I do have my YouTube stream going. But as far as the MSP Waves site goes, I don't even know. I don't even know if I'm streaming out there. But yeah, I am really tired because I stayed up past midnight last night. And about 5 cups of coffee later today, I'm making it. I'm making it for today. I recently saw on Twitter that the old pirate chain, it came across my feed here on Twitter, that pirate chain has a a hardware wallet. So I think that's pretty cool. One thing that I think is hilarious is Alex Tyne recently had a fundraiser for the people at Martha's Vineyard, and I thought that was totally hilarious for the people that are all complaining about the immigrants being sent to Martha's Vineyard from Florida, and how much shit that stirred up. I do enjoy scrolling through Twitter, especially the guys that are doing 3D printed gun stuff, because I find that pretty fascinating. So this is a new design called the Partisan 9, and it's a 9mm with a integral suppressor, 3D printed into the firearm, which is pretty interesting. This just came out in a beta version. So what's pretty neat about these, how the deterrence dispense guys have been doing firearms is, they have designers, and then it's just like any kind of open source thing. I guess you have an alpha version of your software, and then you come out with the beta, like after you've worked out some of the kinks with the alpha version. So they do the same thing with 3D printed firearms, and so yeah, you get your design, you work out some of the kinks. Once you have something that's nice and functional, then you distribute it out on Deterrence Dispense, your files for a beta version for anybody, like Then usually the creators of that file will ask to have you show them, some of your other builds, and they'll want to see, some of the builds that you've made to make sure that you're going to be competent in in going into the beta and testing out the firearm and the design, and kind of giving feedback on any issues with the design and how it functioned. Um, I think that's really neat, and it's a really cool way of developing new things, which is why I love the open source ethos so much. Is that everybody can become a contributor, and um, you know for stipulations on things, especially in the realm of firearms, where you could potentially do, um, things explode in a controlled manner in a firearm, but you could potentially hurt somebody if your design is not, quality. Um, so it's interesting to, it's cool the way that they've developed how to test everything out, and in the community, people contribute and keep furthering the development of something. Where you would have like a company and you'd have like a full R&D team working on something. Now with open source design, the entire internet, and whoever has the capabilities of reaching your files and being able to interact and communicate on some level, that you can get feedback, or you can get somebody that can take that design and maybe even improve on it themselves, and just move the innovation forward pretty rapidly. And I do think that's why you've seen the whole 3D firearm space go to a point where these guys are freaking out about it, because when you do allow people to collaborate in that kind of way, that you can make some incredible advancements in a short period of time. So I think that's something that not a lot of people realize, is how powerful we actually are when people get together, just for the love of something. And when people collaborate in such a way where um, there is such an importance for something, that importance trumps people's politics, and different ideologies, and all that kind of stuff, and humans can work together on achieving some stuff. I would love to see that kind of stuff in like the area of exotic energy technologies. And the thing about that is, just trying to keep it to a point where it's not going to be shut down so easily. Uh, and I think that it's possible now that we have ways to send somewhat encrypted communications, and have things like IPFS. Maybe we're on the cusp of something getting distributed out there that can't get shut down, and is something that people have ready access to, no matter where you are in the world, and can be beneficial for creating energy in any local area, without any kind of specialized you know tools or equipment that that you could set up something, with commonly found items, and it just power, a small cabin or, a standard size house or all kinds of stuff like that. Like how cool would something like that be where, these plans get widely distributed throughout the internet and can't get shut down. I think that would be the best and would definitely throw a wrench in some of the plans for the planet that have been going on for quite a long time. And that's why, information like that gets axed as soon as it pops up. But I think it is quite a possibility now that, basically at any moment something like that could happen. Um, but don't hold your breath. Definitely don't hold your breath. Keep, you know, keep working towards improving yourself and, getting to the best place that you possibly can. Uh, so, so that that as individuals, every individual that is pushing for, their best future and what that you would like to see come into the world. As every person pursues that, the ripple effect goes out, and the everyone benefits. So here's some interesting development in our local area. Is got word the other day that through our group chat that the local gun store may have been potentially the ATF came into the local gun store um, and may have been giving them an issue recently. So um, so that's kind of interesting. We saw an article from one guy that owned a gun shop down in South Alabama, and he was recently arrested because they're just linking the here's the article. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. June 23rd, 2010. June 23rd, 2010. This is not a recent article. Anyway, that happened in 2010. uh so anyway, this story is not verified or anything. So this was just somebody heard of something, but they definitely are increasing the talk of more and more gun restrictions inside the United States, and so I don't think that they have they've thought about the different technologies of what's out there currently. Um, so anyway, you can't stop the signal. You're not gonna be able to stop the signal. And try as they might, really can't keep up with all that's going on. So coming up soon is the Self Reliance Festival in Camden, Tennessee, as well. Um, this is an event I've gone to the past 3 events, October 1st and 2nd. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be attending this next one. I thought I would be going out there. But unfortunately, I did not buy the tickets for that this time, and I will be spending that weekend working on the battery system for my solar trailer. So I plan on working on that. But this is a really good event, and it is well worth it to go. Um, it looks like they are going to be doing a digital pass for anyone that wants to attend the event. You can watch it virtually if you can't attend in person. So, uh, so there you go. Gives you private recordings of all the things that are going on at the event. So if you can't make it physically, this is a pretty good little thing here. They've got the digital pass that you can buy. It looks like it's $97 to buy the digital one, and I might just do that since I'm not going to be attending in person this time. Just because I got other stuff that I'm working on that weekend. But a really cool event. I've really enjoyed it the past few times that I've gone. Always some really good demonstrations and some really good information that they give out at the event. Lots of great people there too. I think that's one of the big things about going to some of these events is that you get to meet some really neat people, and they're all doing some really cool stuff. Um, which is one thing that I need to work on myself is to get my interviews lined up for the folks that I want to bring on the podcast, and I will have to talk about some of this with Rondon, because I need to figure out the best way of having the live stream go through, especially for the MSP Waves site. But yeah, I haven't even checked, but maybe I have some folks watching here. I don't. But I haven't put the word out really that I've been doing the live streams on YouTube. So anyway, I will be doing that. We're coming up on the last 10 minutes of the show. I do need to get some more organization going on for the show and get some guests lined up. So I will be writing that down right now, and I do have two guests in mind that I need to bring on here that I have been talking about for a while, and I need to go ahead and reach out to them and get them on the show. Nicole and Neethi and let's see, Mike from Easy Peasy. Yeah, Mike from Easy Peasy Podcast. He's got a really nice podcast where he's going around and interviewing a lot of folks at different festivals and things, and then he just kind of shares his thoughts on some of the things that he's working on himself. I think he was a really cool guy, really along the same kind of lines and thinking. He started a little company by installing garden beds for people that are pretty like wealthy clientele. They don't have a whole lot of time, but they would like to have a garden of some kind, but they don't necessarily want the time and put the effort into having the garden. So there's a opportunity out there for somebody that wants to do that work and is passionate about that kind of work. And he just started one up in kind of a metropolitan type area, and started this business by installing gardens for people. And he lives in like I guess kind of like a commercial area of the city, in like a workshop kind of thing. And he's kind of got the workshop all outfitted with everything he needs to live out of the workshop. And I think he even said he created a like an IBC tote shower kind of thing, so that he could have a shower set up inside the warehouse without having to install a big shower stall. He was just able to cut one of those 270-gallon IBC totes in half and use it as some kind of like a shower stall kind of thing. So yeah, let's see, IBC tote shower house. See if I can pull up a picture of that, what it looks like. Some people have done some different versions of this. But yeah, here's the idea of how you would set something like that up. Let's see, check this out. That's pretty cool. So just like a simple thing that you could do that you could set this up outdoors, and you just take one tote and stack it on top of another one. You flip it over, you stack, one on top of the other, and then you can connect connect them in the center, and then put your plumbing and things in there, and then have yourself a little shower stall without having to, build an expensive thing. Here's another version of it that somebody did. Looks like they put a on-demand water heater on the outside. They built a little cover for that. They took the two IBC totes, and looks like they just mounted a propane tank to the outside of the IBC tote, and I guess you just plumb in some water in there. If you have like some gravity that you could feed in there, and you've got yourself a pre-made shower stall there that you could go slap out somewhere, which is something that I think is pretty cool. This is a really cool idea. I might have to try this myself and get something like this set up out on the piece of property that I'm going to be working on with the community. So as a way to just get something set up and can put a little door on that thing and just have a nice little shower with one of these propane on-demand water heaters. Be pretty nice. Get something going in the beginning for just getting out there. This is one thing that I realized, when you're out camping somewhere or you're just working on a project of going off grid, it is nice to have a place where you can get a good shower and get cleaned up and everything. So yeah, this could be an option. These totes are everywhere, all over. They're all over the freaking place, all over the world, I think, and be something fairly simple to put together as a shower house. So yeah, I dig it. Pinterest has got all the cool different stuff on it for the how people are creative and doing some interesting creative stuff. Let's see what are some other options that people have done here. Looks like somebody created their own hot tub with an IBC tote. Aquaponics gardening. Looks like this guy made himself a little hot tub out of an IBC tote. I don't know why these are labeled backyard aquaponics, but here's a nice little rainwater collection system. Just a real simple lean-to roof with a gutter attached. It looks like filling up two IBC totes. I like that idea too. Looks like somebody's using the IBC totes and creating water tower so that you can use that as gravity and just use the gravity to feed your stuff. Oh, all right, guys. Gabriel, thanks for hanging out with me on the pod tonight. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, man. And hope that everybody else out there has a great rest of your week. We'll be back next week for another Meadows and Makers podcast. We'll probably be talking to you guys about the battery project in the solar trailer and running some different stuff off of the batteries, off of the new batteries that get installed in the solar trailer. So stay tuned for that. And then we will catch you guys next week for another episode of the Meadows and Makers podcast. Thanks, man. I'll probably hang out for a little while, and yeah, I definitely should get some sleep. So you as well, good sir, and we'll catch you next week. So have a great one. Peace.